Jalen Jacoby is presented by Grey Goose.
It is Friday. He is Jalen Rose. I am David Jacoby. We
What
are
up, Joe?
Jalen Jacoby. What is it that we do, Jalen?
Like Jeezy, like Gucci. We get the people what they want. That's what
we
do.
will be discussing that. We'll be discussing the Warriors' plan to replace Klay Thompson in all the NFL games coming up this weekend. But we start with some wild breaking news from Adam Schefter. He is saying that Sean Payton has made the decision to start that man, Taysom Hill, at starting quarterback for the Saints, and they have no plans to put Jameis Winston at the position. What do you think about this move from Sean Payton?
You're a professional journalist. You've been doing this for over 20 plus years. Did he say that they have no plans to play Jameis?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I believe that. I really don't know if I believe that. What would it hurt the Saints to start Taysom Hill for a series, for 2 series, for a quarter, for a half? To me, if you need to throw the football down the field, Taysom Hill hasn't shown me at this point of his career that he's going to be that guy. So I wouldn't be surprised if both of them play. Sean Payton has been a terrific coach. He's going to go into the Hall of Fame one day. While everybody hopes that you're honest with the media, he seems to be trying to do so, but his ultimate goal is to actually win football games. So I can't wait to see how this plays out. I'm happy that Taysom gets his opportunity. As a Swiss Army knife, we've seen him do so many special things in their offense, but you and I know it's a lot different when you're the starting NFL quarterback for a football team. Let's see how it plays out.
Well, I'm curious, too, because when I heard he was starting, I was like, maybe he'll take the first snap and then he'll hand it over to Jameis. Like, how's this going to work? But then Schefter had a follow-up tweet saying that Taysom took all the first-team snaps at practice this week and that there's no packages or plans for Jameis to be under center, which is absolutely shocking because Jameis had over 30 touchdowns last year. And, oh, wait, Taysom Hill has thrown 18 passes in his entire career. Let me say it again. He has thrown the ball forward 18 times in his entire career. He covers punts, and now he's going to be the starting quarterback for the Saints. Jalen, what do you think the chances are that we actually do, as you suggested, see Winston take some snaps under center?
ATL is winning right now away from the football field. So they are playing the Falcons. If you are going to try something, this is actually the week to do so, in particular against your rival. But I'm going to be interested to see what kind of offense they run with Taysom Hill. The NFL has evolved. We see Kyler Murray running an offense. We see Lamar Jackson running a separate offense. So there are a lot of people that aren't traditionally playing quarterback and being really effective. They may use him like the Patriots are using Cam in a lot of ways. It's going to be interesting to see how it plays out.
It's also interesting to see this because, you know, I'm an emotional person. I just can't believe that Jameis Winston's going to be standing there on the sideline with a clipboard in his hand, watching Taysom Hill take a job that he thought was his. When Jameis Winston signed up to be the backup quarterback of the Saints, he did not think that he would be the backup quarterback to Taysom Hill, who also covers punts. I think that he thought there would be a chance for him to come in, like Teddy Bridgewater did last year, prove that he is a starting quarterback in the NFL and get another gig on another team. But this is just wild to me. Like I still can't wrap my head around the fact that Taysom Hill, is he still going to cover punts?
I can wrap my head around it, and I'm sorry to our producer, Demetrius, I didn't ask for this. But now I think back to something I saw Jameis doing recently. Eating W's. Yeah, when a guy's still doing that, he can't be your starting quarterback, dog. He can't be your starting quarterback. I told you. Didn't I tell you? When I'm like, he's still doing that?
He is still doing that. And Jalen, you are watching ESPN if you're watching Jalen Jacoby, but from time to time we turn into the Cardinals News Network. We picked the Cardinals as our collective team early on in the season, and Kyler Murray has not let us down, but last night they ran up against a Seattle Seahawks team that played good defense, didn't turn the ball over, and the result was a non-traditional way to get to 28-21. Jalen, what did you think about Russell Wilson yesterday taking care of the ball?
That was the key, Jacoby. He wasn't playing quote-unquote hero ball. We broke it down over the last couple of weeks how he would break the pocket, had opportunities to run, and then throw an interception in the end zone? That ain't Russell Wilson. Fumble the ball once he getting hit? That ain't Russell Wilson. Getting sacked? And so they did a better job of protecting him, but like I keep saying each week, the balance of the Seattle Seahawks is what makes their offense really invaluable. And having a running game in particular with Hyde and Scarborough yesterday was key. They had multiple 10-plus yard runs. They kept the Cardinals defense on its heels. And then all of a sudden, Russ can do timely passing in order to pick them apart. And he also had another opportunity to get a touchdown pass to Metcalf that he dropped it late in the back of the end zone that it hit him in the helmet, in the face mask.
Right in the face.
And so he did a terrific job of taking care of the football and playing mistake-free.
He did. And another thing that they did is Dunlap really did a good job at getting at Kyler Murray, and their defense was very disciplined and not letting Murray get off those runs. Murray has been running for touchdowns, running for at least 60 yards in every game. He only had 15 rushing yards in this one. I thought they did a really good job of containing Kyler Murray, who's been so electric this season. So that was the game from last night. We have some great games coming up this week, and one of the ones that I have my eye on, the Chiefs against the Raiders. You and I both think that the Chiefs are head and shoulders above the rest of the league. They are by far head and shoulders above everybody else in the league, but they do have one blemish on their record, and that is to these Raiders. The one interception that Mahomes has thrown was to these Raiders. Do you think the Raiders can pull off the upset in Vegas at night?
You love Patrick Mahomes so much. You really mad that he threw that one interception. You just can't believe that he threw one interception. It's like you're holding it against the Raiders because they're the team that had the nerve to pick off Patrick Mahomes and beat the Kansas City Chiefs. And yes, I agree with you. The defending world champions are getting Sammy Watkins back, another deep threat. You know how much I love the Cheetah, Tyreek Hill, and Kelsey, and all of the weapons that they have. And Eric B is president, and Andy Reid, and all of that. But we need to put some respect on the Raiders' name. They did a terrific job of building their football team, Jacoby. Derek Carr's been really well throwing the deep ball. Josh Jacobs in his second year continues to run the ball. Their tight end Waller has been a game changer. They got the deep threats on the outside. Like, the Raiders are legit. The Raiders are legit. I just want to make sure that people should not be surprised that they won the previous game. How about they have 4 plays of 40-plus yards against the Kansas City Chiefs in the previous game? Aguilar was getting out there also. So for the Chiefs, their best defense can't be a dominant offense. Their defense still going to have to be stout this week against the Raiders.
Well, it seems like half of the AFC is 6-3 like the Raiders, and another 6-3 AFC team might be a little surprising for a lot of people. The Indianapolis Colts. We always talk about quarterbacks and Phillip Rivers. Well, the Colts are doing it with their defense. I'd say that this is the most underrated defense in the league. Look at their NFL ranks. Yards per game, absolutely first. Opponents QBR, first. Second yards per play, fourth in points per game, and I'm predicting that this no-name Colts defense is going to stop Aaron Rodgers and the Packers in Indianapolis Sunday afternoon. Remember where you heard it first. The Colts are going to beat the Packers in this game.
Jacoby, look down at your phone. You might get an email. You mean that Jalen and Jacoby are doing smart football and multimedia conversations, and we're not only discussing the Cowboys or the Lakers? You actually broke down how good the Colts defense has been all year? Has that been said? Has that been said? That the Indianapolis Colts have been terrific defensively?
Well, they're going to be tested against Aaron Rodgers and the Packers, and I think that they will stand up to that test. And you'll see, remember on Monday, after this upset, the rest of the sports media landscape will catch up to us on this one. We have a lot more games in the NFL weekend to look at, but first, we have some news in the NBA. Klay Thompson has suffered an Achilles injury that will keep him out for the entire season. However, they're going to try to replace him by making a deal for Kelly Oubre Jr. of the Thunder. Jalen, what do you think about this move to try to replace Klay Thompson?
Kelly Oubre is one of my guys, and you know, since Washington, I felt like he was an underrated asset around the league. He's an improved shooter. He can play off the dribble, continue to improve in that area of his game. He's going to bring toughness. And he almost averaged 19 points last year in Phoenix, Jacoby. But it's extremely tough to replace one of the Splash Brothers. It's virtually impossible because him and Steph are just so very compatible as a tandem. But also, Klay is one of the top 12 or 15 players in the entire league. And his ability to put up big numbers and get huge stats without being ball dominant is crucial for the Golden State Warriors. Look at these NBA records that Klay Thompson has. Threes in a quarter, threes in a game, points in a quarter, and my favorite stat of all time in the history of the NBA. This man has 60 points and 11 dribbles, dog. 60 points and 11 dribbles. You realize, hold on, do you hear that sound? That's James Harden dribbling 111 times before he takes one shot. And so what ends up happening is now he allows Draymond to be the distributor, Steph to be the catch and shoot guy. Oh, you want to add KD? It's fine. He's still going to get his shots off and knock them down. And also, there's a spirit animal that the Golden State Warriors can also turn to when things get tough. That's Game 6 Klay. Game 6 Klay is a real thing. It seems like when they need him the most, and the season seems to be the most dire, he always finds a way to come through. So the Golden State Warriors, they added Wiseman. They still got Day-Day. They still got Steph. They still have Wiggins, and they added Kelly Oubre. They're going to be a good team. They're going to be a playoff team, but they're not going to be a championship contending team.
Yes. I mean, the loss of Klay Thompson simply takes them out of championship contention. They were a team that was going to vie for the Larry O'Brien trophy, and this news takes them out of championship contention. And I feel so bad for Klay Thompson and the whole Thompson family. I wish him a speedy recovery. Jalen, we have some other news from the NBA and a couple big games in the NFL we still need to preview. Make sure you stay tuned. You're watching Jalen and Jacoby.
Jalen and Jacoby, presented by Grey Goose.
Coming to you live from the South Street Seaport District of Manhattan at Pier 17 and brought to you by Chase. Welcome back to Jalen and Jacoby. Jalen, it is time for the segment where you decide what we discuss. It's time to keep it moving.
Tang. Woo.
If you want to discuss the topic, say hit the brakes. If not, we will keep it moving. And we start with this news from Lakers general manager Rob Pelinka that they're going to use a balancing act with LeBron James's minutes coming off of a short offseason. Jalen, you're always very in tune with the ins and outs of the NBA schedule and how they play players. What do you think will happen this year with the Lakers and LeBron?
I'm going to tell you a dirty secret that a lot of fans aren't going to like. And it doesn't necessarily apply to an all-time great player in LeBron James, who's 35 in his 18th year. Of course, you're going to load manage him. Of course, you're going to pick and choose games, in particular when he just got finished playing almost 2 months ago. But there are many teams now in the league, Jacoby, that look at the schedule and go to their notable players and tell them which games they feel like they should play and which games they feel like they should miss. Of course, the player gets the ultimate veto power, but that is something that just takes place in today's game. LeBron clearly has earned the right based on what he has done in the game and the longevity that he has to do so, but it happens with players that are in their first couple of years now based on how the league is operating.
We will keep an eye on that. Jalen, Gordon Hayward turned down $34 million. Keep it moving or hit the brakes.
That just means he getting more bread. Keep it moving for now.
Okay.
We keep it moving. We keep it moving.
Two teams that had AFC title aspirations but have stumbled thus far face off this weekend. Titans at Ravens. Keep moving or hit the brakes.
Hit the brakes on this one.
Jalen, as I mentioned, both of these teams had Super Bowl aspirations, but at times have looked pretty fraudulent. What do you think about this matchup?
And even though they have Super Bowl aspirations, how they do it is a lot different than usually contending teams do it, and it's via the run game. And the Baltimore Ravens losing Boyle is going to be something that it's going to be tough for their run game to replace in particular. And for the Titans, I told you when Taylor Lewan got injured, my fellow Michigan man, their run game would not be the same with Derrick Henry which obviously is going to affect their passing game with Ryan Tannehill. Let's see which one of these 6-3 teams are able to put it back together this weekend.
Whichever one of these teams goes to 6-4 after this game is going to be in serious trouble of missing the playoffs. Moving on to another matchup in the AFC, the Patriots and the Texans. Keep moving or hit the brakes?
Hit the brakes.
Jalen, the Patriots have a chance of making a run at the AFC East. They face the Texans, who have only won 2 football games this entire season. What do you see happening on Sunday?
Well, the thing about Cam Newton and how they're using him is clearly not a long-term plan for him to be their quarterback, because anytime he's just doing so many inside the tackle runs and just quarterback design runs at his age with his physicality, that is not something that's built for long-term success. But it's great to see Cam having fun and reinventing himself in a lot of ways in the game. On the other side, I'm just happy that Deshaun getting his bread. I'm just happy that he's getting $500 million to play for the Texans. That's all. That's all.
Every Sunday night, he's all mad about the loss that they had and how they played. He gets frustrated, and then he just opens up his bank account. And he just looks at that, and he's like, "Oh, I'm good. I think I'll be all right. We'll line him up again next Sunday." Jalen, 2 teams headed in 2 very different directions. It is the Cowboys and the surprisingly hot Vikings. Keep moving or hit the brakes.
I do the Deshaun thing. Sometimes I just take thousands of dollars out of the bank and throw it on the ground and lay it and then do snow angels. We're not talking about the Cowboys. Keep it moving.
We keep it moving. We keep it moving.
The Eagles and the Browns, a match of 2 teams desperately needing a win and some momentum. Keep it moving or hit the brakes.
How about the stats of Carson Wentz and Baker Mayfield are very similar, even though their contractual situations are vastly different. Keep it moving.
We keep it moving. We keep it moving.
The Steelers look to stay undefeated against Luton and the Jaguars. Jalen, I need you to help me with something, okay? The Steelers are 9-0. Likely it's going to be 10-0 when we do a show on Monday, yet I still don't feel like they're true Super Bowl contenders. Put me on the psychoanalysis couch and tell me why I don't believe in the Steelers, who have weapons on offense and a great defense.
Because you know that Patrick Mahomes plays in the NFL and in the AFC. That's all. If he wasn't there, you'll look deeper into the box score and you'll be like, wait a minute. The Steelers have a legit chance. The Ravens aren't what they used to be. The Colts are on the come up. You can just keep naming teams, but you know Patrick Mahomes is out there. And so it's going to be interesting to see if the Steelers can actually gain, even if it's without fans, home field advantage against the Kansas City Chiefs. That's the key. Let's see if they can continue their winning ways against the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yep, and keep an eye on Jake Luton. He looked pretty good the last couple weeks. Like, he looked all right, and I had never heard of him before he took over for Gardner Minshew. Jalen, we have a huge college football game this weekend, and of course, we're going to recap what happened last night between Gucci and Jeezy. You don't want to miss that. Stay tuned. You're watching Jalen.
Ain't no
Jacoby.
hair on my chest, but I'm one tough cookie.
UFC 255 this Saturday night, 2 belts on the line. We have Figueiredo versus Perez and Shevchenko versus Maia. Make sure you check that out Saturday night at 10 p.m. on ESPN+. Welcome back to Jalen and Jacoby. Jalen, Michigan football team is terrible, but there are 2 good football teams going up against each other. Indiana against Ohio State. This is the Big Ten matchup that we've been looking at that has nothing to do with your Michigan Wolverines. What do you think about this big game at the Horseshoe in Columbus?
For our director, Tommy, the OG of the show, I hope Indiana puts on a great performance, but I can't front. This is usually the time, and this is coming from a Michigan man, when Ohio State exerts their dominance. So I would not be surprised if the Ohio State Buckeyes beat the brakes off the Indiana Hoosiers to send a message to the rest of the collegiate football world. I would not be surprised if Justin Fields doesn't throw for over 400 yards, has over 4 TDs. This just seems like the time when the Buckeyes rise up and send a message.
It really does, and every year the Buckeyes rise up and send a message when they beat Michigan. But this year, that won't even be a message. And this year, Michigan, if Michigan really comes away with 2 wins, that first week against Minnesota and the Ohio State Buckeyes, you will consider that a good season, won't you? I know you will.
Yeah.
That's
We beat
the
Ohio
mind of a
State,
Wolverine.
absolutely.
That's the mind of a Wolverine right there. Jalen, we witnessed history last night. No, I'm not talking about the Seahawks and Cardinals game. Of course, I'm talking about Gucci versus Jeezy. It was contentious, it was tense, and it all finished with So Icy. Jalen, your thoughts on the Verzuz battle?
I was really impressed by their maturity, Jacoby, and just seeing two men be able to put their differences aside for the culture, for Atlanta. And as you know, I'm really intimate, clearly, with these relationship. Jeezy's like my brother, and I saw how that relationship kind of hit a fork in the road. And so for them to celebrate each other on that stage with Verzuz, shout to Swiss Beats, shout to Timbaland, it was a great thing for hip-hop, and it was a great thing to show black men can put their differences aside.
Enjoy all the games this weekend. We'll be back on Monday, ESPN2 at 2 o'clock.
Thank you. You're far too kind.